what's up guys, it's Bird here from Addict Gaming, and I'm going to show you the Dragonhunter PvP build that I've been using. It is a trap Dragonhunter build, so it depends on traps. You're also using longbow and you're using sword focus as your weapon sets. It's an extremely bursty build. It has a lot of viability as far as living goes. It doesn't have a ton of defense, but because we're going for traits such as when we use a meditation it heals us, then we have a lot of sustainability. We just don't have a ton of defense. We'll get a lot of healing out of our abilities though. So let's look at let's look at our gear first, then we'll look at our traits. For our gear, we're using Marauder because you get that vitality instead of using, say, Berserker, where you don't get any vitality. So this will keep us alive a lot longer, and we'll still be able to put out a ton of damage. If we have Berserker, our health would go from 17,600 to maybe like 12,000. So we would actually lose a ton of health. For my runes, I'm using Rune of the Traveler. I love Rune of the Traveler because of the movement speed. Also, you get the boon duration, and in this build we're going to be putting a lot of boons on ourselves and our allies. So that boon duration actually really helps. For my sigils, I just went simply Sigil of Air and Sigil of Fire on both weapon sets. You can do things like you can do Sigil of Generosity to remove conditions. You can do Sigil of where is it? Hydromancy. There it is. When you switch weapon sets, that you chill people and you do damage to them. Those are different things you can do, but I went with the simple fire and air sigils. Let's look at our traits. The first trait line we have Valor. Valor's defense, gain Aegis when you are struck while below the health threshold. That's 50%. Then we have Smiter's Boon. This is cure conditions and damage nearby foes. Deal more damage if a condition is cured. So Smiter's Boon is when we use our healing ability, we are going to cast Smite Condition. Which actually if you, we'll look at it later, but because Smite Condition is a meditation, it actually gives us, when we use our healing ability, it actually gives us extra healing, and it gives us Fury as well. But we'll talk about that later in the trait line. Then we have Courageous Return. Virtue of Courage is recharged when you revive an ally or when you rally. Then Strength in Numbers. Nearby allies gain toughness based on your effective level. Might of the Protector. Gain might when you block attacks. And in our Sword Focus weapon set, we do have a block, so we will be gaining might if people are attacking us while we use our block. Then we have Monk's Focus. Using a meditation skill heals you and grants Fury to allies in a radius. Meditation skills have reduced recharge. So that's why Smite Condition is so powerful, or Smiter's Boon. When we use our heal, it's going to cast Smite Condition within meditation. It's going to give us even more healing while using our heal, and it's going to give us Fury. And we're going to be doing a lot of damage to somebody around us if we have a condition on us when we use it, or when we use our healing ability. So this really, really buffs up your healing ability. So let's look into virtues. We have Inspired Virtue. Virtues now also apply the following boons to allies when activated: Justice, Might, Resolve, Regeneration, and Courage Protection. Unscathed Contender. Deal more damage while under the effects of Aegis, or Aegis, however you say it. Virtue of Retribution. Gain Retaliation when you activate a virtue. Retaliation you apply lasts longer. And we'll talk about combos we have in our weapon sets, because we'll actually get a lot of retaliation from our weapon sets, from getting the light aura. And I'll show you that a bit later. Then Absolute Resolution. Activating Virtue of Resolve removes conditions from nearby allies. Virtue of Resolve's passive effect is stronger. Power of the Virtuous. Deal extra damage for each boon you have. And Virtue is recharged faster. That's a 1%. Virtue is recharged faster by 15%, but we get a 1% damage increase for each boon we have on us. And when we're fighting, 4 or 5 boons is normal for this kind of build. So you're looking at a 4 or 5% damage increase. Indomitable Courage. Activating Virtue of Courage breaks stun and grants stability to affected allies. Virtue of Courage's passive effect triggers more frequently. Okay, so stability is really important in PvP. Of course, everybody knows that. So when we use our Virtue of Courage, which is actually our Shield of Courage in Dragonhunter, we're going to get 4.5 seconds of stability, but we're also going to be applying stability to people around us. So that's an important note to take. So in the Dragonhunter trait line, we have Virtuous Action. The Guardian's Resolve has further increased, allowing its virtues, to be manifested as physical aspects. Then we have Piercing Light. Traps daze enemies when activating and have reduced recharge times. So, like I said, it's a trap heavy build, so we'll talk about the traps a little bit later. But basically, when we activate a trap, when we put a trap down and somebody activates it, actually dazes them. Okay. Then we have Defender's Dogma. Blocking an attack causes Justice to reach its maximum charge, and that is right here, Spear of Justice. And then we have Hunter's Determination. Gain Aegis and drop a Fragments of Faith trap at your location when you are inflicted with a stun. So whenever you're CC'd, you lay down a trap that it deals some damage, and then it also throws out a bunch of little packs that grant you and your allies Aegis if you pick it up. Then we have Pure Sight. Deal bonus damage based on your distance to the enemy. You do a little more distance the farther away you are, but this build is actually kind of like even if we're using longbow, it's kind of like a melee build. Because we're going to be up front in the battle. Even if with the longbow, we're going to be basically standing right next to somebody shooting them in the face. And then we have Heavy Light. Longbow arrows knock back when enemies are within range threshold. This gains stability when you knock an enemy up. But this is really important when it comes to the Test of Fate trap. But we'll go through these skills in a second, and I'll show you exactly why. So those are the traits. Those are the traits in the gear. If you guys have any questions or you have some suggestions to my builds, I'm completely open to that. Then just let me know. But anyway, let's get to the weapons and the skills, and we'll go through some of the combos that are available in this build. Okay, let's talk about our longbow. We have the auto attack puncture shot. When you fire an arrow, it bounces behind the enemy and it'll cripple enemies behind it. It's just basic. There you go, 2,000 damage. Not bad for an auto attack, but yeah, it's just a basic attack that'll cripple enemies behind it. Then we have 2. This is our hard hitting ability, True Shot. Charge up energy, creating a powerful attack that pierces through enemies. Here, let's try that. Boom, 2,500 non-crit. And then we have number 3, which destroys projectiles when you cast this. So if somebody's shooting projectile at you, you can actually use it to destroy the projectiles, and actually increases the damage by 100% if you destroy a projectile when you use it on somebody. Then we have our number 4, which is Symbol of Energy. Fire a slow arcing arrow that explodes on impact to burn targets and sear a symbol of energy into the ground, which causes burning and also applies vigor towards us. So there we go, that's number 4. And then we have number 5, which is a lot like the Ranger's number 5. Form your arrows into a barrier and deal damage at the location. So there's our number 5. And then you can see their barrier, their traps. You got the hunter's mark on them. So for our sword and our focus, we have our Sword of Wrath, which is just a basic auto attack. Then we have our number 2, Flashing Blade, which actually lets you teleport to a target. And then number 3, which is a lot of the DPS in the sword focus weapon set. Here we go. Number 3, that destroys ranged attacks as well, just like our number 3 in longbow. Then our number 4, for our focus, we get regen and we cast blindness and do a little bit of damage. So he's inflicted with blindness and we get the regen from that. And then number 5, which is one of the more important skills, is our block. So you put that on us, and then if somebody destroys it while they're trying to attack you, you actually do a lot of damage. Okay, so that's our longbow and our sword and focus. For our heal, Purification, which is a trap. You heal yourself and imbue light into a trap. Enemies that trigger this trap are damaged and blinded as the light returns to you for a second heal. So when you first put down the heal, you can see the initial heal is 2,201 damage. The trap heal, when it's triggered, gives us 6,500 damage, or 6,500 healing. It does a tiny bit of damage, not that much. But remember, when we use a healing skill, we also cast Smite Condition. So we'll do more damage to the target that triggers it, and we'll also be getting more healing. Then our number 2 is Judge's Intervention, which it's also a teleport, so we can teleport to a target. Then we have Test of Faith, lay a trap that creates a ring of weapons that punishes enemies that attempt to cross the threshold. We'll talk about this in a second with the combos, but this one is one of the most important skills in the whole build. And then Contemplation of Purity, which is a meditation which will cure all conditions on you. You get healing and you get fury from using it as well. And then our elite, we have Renewed Focus, which recharges all of our all of our virtues. Okay, so let's talk about some of the combos in this build. One of the things you want to do is with judges actually I'll say this, if you're using longbow, I would take off the auto attack, because remember in our traits here, let's look at our traits real quick. In our traits we have the longbow arrows knock back when enemies are within the range threshold. So with the combo we're gonna use Judge's Intervention to teleport to a target, and then we're gonna put our Test of Fate trap down. When we use our Test of Fate trap, the enemy takes more damage every time they cross the outside area of the trap. So we're gonna want to push somebody. If we set the trap down, you want to push somebody out of it because they're crossing the here, let's go over here. They're crossing the threshold, so they're going to be taking more damage. Okay, so if you have your longbow on auto attack, you might actually trigger that knockback before you want it to trigger. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use Judge's Intervention, and then we're going to put down our trap, our Test of Fate trap, and then we're going to use either our number 1 or our number 2 and knock the target back outside of the trap. Okay, so Judge's Intervention, we'll put the trap down. Then we'll use our number 2. There we go. So you see he takes damage every time he goes through the area. So basically in 2 seconds I just killed that medium golem. Alright, so another one of the combos you can do is your number 4, which puts down a light combo field. Your Wings of Resolve is a leap finisher. So you can put down your number 4, then use your leap finisher inside of it, and then you'll get the light aura. And that'll give you, every time you're hit, you'll get more retaliation, which will do more damage to your enemies. So anyway, after you do the combo with your longbow, you're usually going to want to switch to sword and focus. And then, you can put your shield on, you can start attacking until you see your utilities come back up. Then we use the Judge's Intervention, I can put the trap down, go back to longbow, boom, then the guy's dead. So you switch back and forth between longbow and sword focus, using your defensive abilities in sword focus, but you also have a lot of damage in sword focus, not even just from the auto attack, but you also have your number 3, which will do a decent amount of damage to somebody, and also destroy projectiles, so remember that. Anyway, so that's the builds in a nutshell. I think I told you everything I wanted to tell you guys. Remember, when you use your Shield of Courage, look at all the boons you get. You get Aegis, Protection, Stability, Retaliation. And remember, every single boon we have on is giving us more damage. And then with our Wings of Resolve, we get Regen and Retaliation. And then our Spear of Justice, we get Might and Retaliation as well. And another thing with the trap, say if I put the trap here, with your Spear of Justice, you can grab an opponent and then pull them back. And then you can actually pull them through the threshold. And you're basically doing the same thing as knocking them out by just pulling them in. So that's a lot more damage there as well. Anyway, if you guys have any questions or opinions or suggestions for me, let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure I covered everything I wanted to. So, yeah. Have a good day, guys. Thank you for watching the video.